Anthony, sometimes it seems like political success has more to do with the personal qualities, the likability of a candidate, rather than where they might stand on issue A, B, or C. It's the old who would you rather have a beer with question from the Bush-Gore campaign. How is likability, who voters are more comfortable with, playing out in this race, the Senate race?
Yeah, I think that is very interesting because as much as we talk about how this race is focused on national issues and voters tell us that, you're right, a determining factor, especially for people who may be just tuning in. Well, look at these candidate qualities, just who do you like, the way that they handle themselves. Well, Josh Shapiro tops the list of all four major statewide candidates at a majority liking the way he does. That's important because it's helped him open up a wide lead in the governor's race. John Fetterman is second there at half, and that's also important because he also has a lead, albeit smaller, in the Senate race. But big gaps then for Mastriano and for Oz trailing that. So that's the likability factor working in there. There's a couple of other parts of that dynamic, I think. And one of them is the motivation within their own parties. And I'm going to pull up this slide here to show you what I mean about that. Take a look at what's happened with Oz among Republicans, where 2/3 say that right now they wish they'd nominated somebody different, a different Republican. And part of this dynamic coming out of a contested primary, but part of that is that he just hasn't found resonance beyond that very core part of the Republican base into a wider number of Republicans. So there's a little bit of regret, if you will, coming out of that. And part of that is tied, I think, in part to whether or not people see Oz as having been in the state long enough to really understand the state. And there we find 2/3 who say that he hasn't. That's been a charge of the Fetterman campaign, and that seems to be sticking, at least for now, guys.
I think I've also seen some data in this polling, Anthony, that says viewers feel like they know Fetterman better than they know Oz, even though you got to remember Oz was on television every day for years and years. But I guess people knowing him in that role and knowing him as a politician is a very different thing.
Yeah, it does. It is interesting that way. And in fact, we do find in the polling that voters think that it's Fetterman who's more likely to bring change. This is interesting to me because, of course, as you say, Oz is new to the state and new to politics. So that might be a little bit counterintuitive, but at the same time, it's something that maybe Fetterman is working towards or maybe is part of his message. So on that dynamic, yes, it is the case. And then the other part of it, we've seen a lot where we talk about whether or not the candidates should be debating. And that's always a case where the debate allows voters to get to know a candidate better. They get to hear them directly outside of campaign commercials and back and forths. And here you do see a majority of voters who say that it is at least somewhat important for the candidates' debate, particularly among Republicans. And that's a place where Oz has been pressing his case that they should have debates, and at least among the Republican base, that is finding resonance.